Thank you for that introduction, Ed. I do appreciate it. Hello, everyone. I am Santa Tim Connaghan, uh, known as Santa Tim, Santa Hollywood, because of the years I've worked in Hollywood, and more recently, in the last half dozen years, National Santa. I've been working in the industry since 1969. My first year as Santa Claus while I was in Vietnam. A year later, I was home working in department stores, a department store out in Los Angeles owned by Macy's, and was Santa Claus at that store. Uh, then for quite a few years, I was a professional fundraiser, corporate fundraising, marketing, promotions. I produced telethons and other events in the Hollywood area. And then 20 years ago, and got near retirement, I let my razor disappear and this beard came in. And I've been very lucky ever since, been able to work a lot of events, a lot of special events, promotions, started teaching my Santa school, and now I've had over 4,500 attend my schools. But the Hollywood part is the neat part, and I think that's why I'm here today. Um, in the last 20 years, I have filmed over 40 commercials. Some of them are nice network commercials. A lot of them are the smaller commercials, independent commercials. And then a handful of them are actually commercials I did overseas and in foreign countries. So I've done a lot of things like that. I've also appeared on about a dozen different TV shows, episodic TV, dramas, was even the murder victim on Castle. So, you know, done a lot of unique things in acting, and also did a couple movies. Plus, I've done probably about 150 television interviews, and I can't tell you how many radio interviews I've done over the years. So I've done a lot of different things. But I think that there's a lot of other great speakers that are part of this format and this program, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their commercials and things like that. And instead of me talking about all the things that I've done, I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that you might want to think about as you move into trying to get work doing commercials or advertising or things like that. Now, I know some of you watching are not in Los Angeles, not in Hollywood, you're not in New York, you're not in any major markets. Yet there are opportunities in a lot of areas around the country where Santas have gotten commercials with their local cable companies. There are also a lot of movies and films that are done in different states. And sometimes you have the opportunity to get some work in motion picture and film work, albeit not always as Santa. Okay, sometimes you might end up being, example, the Civil War movie Lincoln. We had a batch of Santas in the Georgia and Carolinas all working as members of Congress in the Senate in that movie Lincoln, because it was easy for the makeup people to use men who already had beards. And if you look back to the 1860s, a lot of men had beards. So it was very easy for the movie to use a lot of Santas. Anyway, I digress a little bit. Let's talk about what you need to think about when you get called on an audition. You're going to get an opportunity to go on the audition. You're going to get there. And often when you arrive, particularly in Los Angeles or New York, there'll be a half dozen other Santas, sometimes even more. I have been on calls where we've had up to 40 Santas all waiting for their auditions. A crazy, crazy situation. But what the nice part was is that a lot of us were friends. We'd met in different places and we socialized. Also know that the Santa associations and all that we're doing right now with the networking, whether it be my Santa school or Ed's conservatory, plus the Santa associations, iBurbs and Forbes and all that, all of those grew out of the casting that was going on in the Los Angeles area 25, almost 30 years ago. A group of Santas who'd never met each other, never worked together, all of a sudden get called to come in and audition, and they meet each other for the first time. And it was at one of those auditions for Auto magazine, a German magazine, that 10 Santas filmed a commercial working overnight at Universal Studios, and they started the first Santa association in the modern day. That was AORBS. And, now it's spread a little bit. It went to become Forbes, and then Forbes split to Forbes and iBurbs. But again, that original 10 Santas was the nucleus that created all the Santa associations we see today all over the country. And but at these auditions, let me get back to the auditions, okay? You have to understand what the director is looking for, okay? You're going to get to an audition sometimes, and they're going to give you the script to read, and you're going to practice it a little bit, and then you're going to go in, and they'll probably have it written out on an easel or a tablet, kind of like a cue card, and maybe to help you a little bit. And you're going to have to give them what you feel, what they're looking for in the Santa. Now they'll give you a description that Santa may be stressed out, and so he's really worried about something, or maybe he's talking to someone else, and you'll have the person with the camera will be talking to you, and you talk back. But they'll try to do those things. Now, a lot of us do these auditions, and we never know what's going to happen after that. And part of it is their director. Now, we don't know what the director's looking for. Is he looking for someone like me? Is he looking for someone like Ed, who maybe doesn't have some hair up here? Maybe they want the Santa that has that, bald spot on top, different things. I've been in a casting call where a director walked down the line and said, too tall, too young, not enough wrinkles, beard's not wide enough, and he was basically kicking us out. Yes, I was too young. I didn't have enough wrinkles. I didn't even get to read the script. I was gone. Crazy. Yet you would think that if they needed wrinkles and they liked me, they might put some wrinkles on me. But you never know what they're going to do. You just have to be prepared that if you don't get picked, it's not always you. It's what the director wants. The director is like an interior decorator. He's looking for something that fits into the whole picture. Hopefully, you're going to give him what he wants for that picture. Now, for those of you who are out in the different cities around the country where maybe you don't have a casting agency or anything like that, you can contact your local cable company. Find out who produces the local auto commercials and tire dealer commercials and swimming pool commercials and things like that you see on most of your cable channels. Somebody produces those, and you need to get your business card in their hand, because if they are getting ready to go into the holiday season, they're out trying to sell commercials to local businesses, and you're a sales tool for them. They could actually tell one of their clients, we could do a commercial with Santa. I've got a real bearded Santa that could be in your commercial, and they'll hire you, Now the pay, I don't know what the pay ranges are in the different areas around the country. I know that out in Southern California, a Santa doing a cable commercial might get $500 for the day. It's a one-time pay. You don't get any residuals or anything like that. It's non-union. But again, if you can do one or two of those, it's a nice deal, But again, you've got to look for those things. Also check with your state organizations, see if the state has a film commission. If they have a film commission, ask the people at the film commission, is there any type of casting services? These are people who look for actors to work on movies that are being filmed in your state. Now that casting agency, you should, if there is one, you want to be registered with them. You want to make sure they've got your picture and your number and all your information, because you never know when somebody's going to be doing something in your state and they want someone local. They don't want to hire someone out of Los Angeles and fly them into Oklahoma. They want someone from Oklahoma if they're filming in Oklahoma. By the way, all you Oklahoma Santas, I hope you've done that work and gotten to your film commission. Now, you want to get yourself kind of ready before the audition. Let's move back a little bit. And one of the things you may want to consider is getting some practice. Now, some Santas have actually, had a little experience in high school or college, maybe in community theater. If not, maybe you want to get involved with a community theater group. Get used to, doing lines and talking with people and getting out in front of people. And, by getting into that type of mode, sometimes you can lose some of the inhibitions and the nervousness that you get when you go on an audition. Another key thing that helps, a tremendous thing in my case, is I took an improv class, an improvisational acting and comedy. And that helped me tremendously. In fact, I was taking my classes and I got called on an audition, and I ended up being the host of a movie for the Hallmark Channel. The whole night, the premiere of a movie, and I did all the commercials that night and hosted the movie also. So it was a great gig. The reason, when they gave me the script, I kind of had my timing down just right to add that little bit of comedic lift to some of the lines, and they liked it and they kept me. And then they also hired me to do the station IDs for the Hallmark Channel. You're watching the Hallmark Channel. Merry Christmas. Little things like that. So you never know what's going to happen when you get an opportunity comes your way. But the improv does help a lot. And a lot of times you go on a casting call, they give you a script, and sometimes it's vague. Maybe they tell you they want you to act something out, and there's no lines. You just have to kind of act it out. You've got to be comfortable in thinking it through. What are you acting out? What are you trying to convey? And again, you also have to, sometimes have your focus to the camera, how you're going to look to the camera and things like that. Improv can help you. So these are little things that may do well for you. When I go on a casting call, the other thing I do is I put on a little makeup. I never go into a casting call plain, okay? I will make sure I got a little pancake on to cut down the shine. I may put a teeny bit of rouge in the cheeks, just a little bit to redden it up. I want to look real Santa-ish. Don't want to look like a cartoon, but I want to be able to go in. And what happens is they're using a simple camera. A lot of times they may have one light or two lights. It's not a regular film set or television set that you're working on. But the thing is, having a little bit of makeup on sometimes will make you pop into the picture a little bit better. So I try to practice that whenever I go on an audition, to have a little bit of makeup on. Don't have to be too heavy on it, but I'm very lucky over the years, both in my previous life where I worked on the telethons and producing TV shows, and then of course moving into doing all the Santa work, that I know how to do my own makeup and how to look good. By the way, Leon McBride has a wonderful makeup kit for Santas, and for your regular Santa work, it's fantastic. But it also is a very good it's a very good kit to have for working on photo sets and even for commercials. And Leon likes to say it's not so much makeup as it is helping you be camera friendly. Okay, so you want to be camera friendly, and that's what this makeup and the things that Leon offers will help you do. I'm trying to think if I've got any other little things in here. I wish I could have been part of the live chat with it, so all of you could ask me questions and such. But I know with all the other guest speakers that are out there tonight, you're going to have, or today, you're going to have an opportunity maybe to ask questions from some of them and get a little bit of experience and knowledge for your experience, and help you look towards getting some work, getting into doing commercials or print work. Not everybody is cut out for it, and not everybody has the opportunity to maybe go on the casting calls in Los Angeles or New York. By the way, over 90% of the commercials for Christmas are filmed in Los Angeles, usually between the months of July and October. About 10% are filmed in other areas. I think about 5% are filmed in New York. Since I've moved back here to New York, being National Santa, I also ring the bell at the stock exchange, and I and about a half dozen other Santas were all Santas in the Mariah Carey concerts as she traveled around the country, so I got to do that. I've also got some very good corporate clients here on the East Coast, and I'm the Santa for the Christmas parties for ABC, NBC, Viacom, CBS, American Express. I do all of their corporate parties here in New York. So because of my work in film and television and my volunteer work with the Marine Corps and Toys for Tots and things like that, that has given me a nice portfolio. So these companies, they look at that portfolio, they see me, they see the work I've done, and that helps me a lot. So that's another thing you want to remember. Your portfolio, the pictures, the work you've done and things like that, sometimes will help you land a film job or a commercial job, because they want some They want to see what you're like. And sometimes what they really want is a real Santa, a Santa who knows what to do, and not just an actor playing a Santa. And that's the one thing that most of us, that most of you who are viewing today, are Santas or Mrs. Claus. And you're real, people that do the real work with the children. And sometimes for the film or television or documentary or whatever they're doing, that's what they want. They want the real thing. They don't just want an actor who plays any character to come in and be Santa just for the couple hours that they film. They want a Santa who's got some gravitas, a Santa who's got some experience in the real work of Santa. And you'd be surprised how that really helps when you're working on a project or on a set, particularly if they're children or other people you've got to deal with, and you can be not only the actor, but you're also carrying across the personality of Santa Claus or Mrs. Claus. So that's very, very important. Well, that's about it for now. Again, I'm so glad that I could be here for this worldwide Santa Claus Summit. I thank Ed for inviting me to be here today. And if anybody does need to reach me, you can always find me. I'm Santa at nationalsanta.com. Bye-bye, everybody.